All right, let's take a trip back in time. Picture it. It's the late 90s. The sound of a dial-up modem connecting is, well, it's the sound of the future. The dot-com boom is absolutely raging. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is trying to get online, to build the next big thing, to find their piece of that digital gold rush.
And you know, at the heart of it all, this new digital world, it was built on this incredible promise. The idea of instant connection, of global e-commerce, of all the world's information right there on your desk. It really felt like we were on the edge of something huge.
But there was a huge problem lurking just under the hood. The very tech that made the web possible was starting to creak and groan under the weight of its own success. That big promise was writing checks that the technology just couldn't cash.
Yeah, see, the internet wasn't just growing at this point, it was exploding. And that explosion created this kind of digital ticking clock, threatening to bring the entire exciting new world to a grinding halt.
I mean, just think about it. All of a sudden, you have millions of people trying to buy books from a brand new site called Amazon or check their bank accounts online for the first time. Every single click, every purchase, every login, it all had to go somewhere. And the databases back then, which were kind of like the digital filing cabinets for everything, they were becoming a massive bottleneck. The whole system was just getting slower and slower.
And then right in the thick of all this chaos, a solution shows up. And this wasn't just, another software patch or an update. No, this was a fundamental redesign of how the internet's engine was going to be built.
So in 1999, Oracle drops Database 8i. And that little I at the end, that was a huge deal. It literally stood for Internet, and it was a direct shot at solving this crisis. You can even argue that this release didn't just help the dot-com boom, it was one of the key things that made the next phase of it possible at all.
And you gotta appreciate the confidence here. This was way more than just clever marketing. Oracle was basically planting a flag in the ground and declaring, hey, the database isn't just for your boring internal corporate stuff anymore. It's now a frontline soldier in this whole internet revolution.
So what was actually inside this new engine? What was the secret sauce? Well, it really boiled down to a few brilliant critical innovations.
Oracle 8i basically came with a whole new toolkit, built specifically for the web. They baked some amazing new capabilities right into the database's core. We're talking about things like built-in support for Java, brand new ways to chew through huge amounts of data at once, and direct hooks into web languages and e-commerce platforms.
Okay, first up, the built-in Java Virtual Machine, or JVM. So before this, your web application and your database spoke different languages, and they had to use this really slow translator to talk to each other. By putting Java, the language of the web at the time, inside the database itself, Oracle got rid of the translator. The big idea was to move the code to the data, not the other way around, and that made everything way faster.
And that brings us to the next big idea, parallelism. This is so cool. Instead of having one person try to solve a giant puzzle, the database could now act like a project manager. It would get a huge request, break it down into a bunch of smaller, easy-to-handle tasks, and give them to a whole team to work on all at once. The result? You got your answer back in a fraction of the time, even with millions of people asking questions.
And here's the crucial part. The database finally started speaking the language of the web. It just natively understood things like HTTP for communication and XML for data. This meant it could plug directly into shopping carts and payment systems without all this clunky, slow middleware. It became a true citizen of the web.
Okay, so with this powerful new engine in place, all those technical breakthroughs started to have some massive real-world effects. The dot-com fire? It just got a huge dose of high-octane fuel.
So what did all this actually lead to? One word: scale. Before 8i, just handling a few thousand people using your website at the same time was a nightmare. Now, businesses could reliably process millions of transactions every single day. That jump, that leap in scale, that was the key that unlocked what e-commerce and online services could really become.
And you can literally see the impact right here. The growth of online businesses before and after this kind of tech was widely available it's staggering. It's not just growth, it's a completely different curve. This new database backbone gave companies the confidence to think bigger and scale way faster than they ever thought possible.
And so Oracle 8i and technologies like it became the invisible backbone of the new internet economy. Seriously, every time you added a book to your Amazon cart or checked your stock portfolio online back then, there was a really good chance you were hitting a system built on these exact principles.
What's pretty amazing, when you think about it, is how the ideas that were laid down back then are still influencing the tech we all use today.
This wasn't just a flash in the pan, it was a foundation being poured for the future.
So when you look back, this release really was a turning point. It marked the moment the database stopped being just a passive place to store information and started becoming an active, intelligent, web-savvy engine right at the heart of our digital world.
Which leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on, right? If that last great technological leap was about putting the internet inside the database, what's the next one? What's going to be the core engine that powers the next 20 years of innovation? Definitely something to think about.